Tammy, and my buddy Joel here with our podcast, Breaking 80, where we talk about our journey to go low, baby, and break 80, maybe.
And how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. It's 80 degrees on the southwest coast. It's beautiful. It feels like, it feels like a hot summertime. I'm playing golf several days this week. I'm thrilled about it. I got a new driver and a new net for the backyard. I am a happy girl.
Oh, you are good. Well, on the the right coast over here, where we have the Atlantic Ocean, it is 75 degrees, a nice little breeze off the ocean. So we live in paradise, you and I do. However, last
That's by
week,
design. Yeah.
exactly last week, I got a text from you with a picture that made me shiver. What was the temperature there, and where were you?
I think I was in Cleveland, Ohio,
Ooh.
my hometown, baby, and visiting the family. We finally got to do Christmas together. We were so sick over the Christmas season.
Hmm.
So we finally got to celebrate, and it felt every bit of a Northeast Christmas. It was like 5 degrees, blizzard, ice storm, a foot of snow, the whole shebang. So.
And you looked at that and go, this is the reason that I moved to California.
That's exactly correct. We love to golf all year. It's hard to lock it down. I did some indoor golf while I was there. I did some arena golf, in
Hmm.
the Golf Dome, Chagrin Falls, Ohio, but it's only about 100 yards long. It just
Oh,
doesn't, it was good to do while I was there. I was able to get out with my parents and hit some balls. It was really nice.
well, you couldn't hit your new driver there. So someone got a new toy, didn't they?
That's right. Opening a new driver feels like Christmas. What it really feels like is going to pick up a puppy. I had gone to a club fitting. I tried out and like all the driver heads, all the different shafts. I was currently playing a ping driver that was 75 grams.
Hmm.
And that's a very heavy driver shaft. For the people that don't know, you want a faster swing, you got to go lighter shaft. And I loved my other driver, but I want faster, I want farther. I have to upgrade my driver. So if I knew what club head I wanted, I wanted the new Cobra club head. It's got the sweet spot like the AI smoke. It's got some cool technology to adjust the club head. And if you find yourself, a little right, a little left, playing in the wind, you can dial it down, add a little backspin. And it's a cool driver. And for the first time in my life, I got a women's shaft. I got a
Whoa.
40-gram flex women's shaft. And we tried out everything.
Well, I know
It
that
was
last week when we talked, or a couple weeks ago, because you were like, I want to do this, or this, or this, or this, and you were going through. You had basically tried everything out there to a point where you were swinging, 150 swings with a driver with everything, and you
yeah,
finally chose the Cobra.
I finally chose the Cobra. And it was like picking up a new puppy. I was so excited to go and get it. I haven't named it yet. I just got it yesterday.
Oh,
I
so you
got the
haven't let
grip
the
I
big dog eat
wanted.
yet, have you?
What's
You
that?
haven't let the little puppy out there and let it eat yet, have you?
Actually, I have. I
Oh,
went right to the golf course, and my buddy who sold me the driver told me I wasn't allowed to play with it for 2 hours because it had a fresh grip on it. So I didn't play with it for 2 hours. And at exactly 2 hours, I
oh,
pulled it
yes,
out.
exactly. That's how you are. You got the little
Yeah.
stopwatch going, 3, 2, 1, there.
Oh, yeah. I was watching. I was going to wait till the back nine, and it was like halfway through the front. And I was like, oh, it's time.
So the first swing, you put the tee in the ground, you put the ball on the tee. The first swing, did it feel just like butter?
It felt great. I hit it left. So So I reteed. It was like I think hole number six. I reteed. I said I was with my friends. I was like, you know what, guys, I'm just gonna hit this one more time. And I smashed it up the middle. The
Mhm.
sound was so different from what I was used to. It was so nice to get it out onto a course and hit it.
Mhm.
And it went, that's the farthest I've ever hit my ball down that fairway.
Really?
So,
Congratulations.
well, thank you.
You may be breaking 80 sooner than you think now.
Maybe. Yeah,
You got the
maybe.
new
And my
driver, the new putter. What's left?
I know. My three wood is coming together. I don't know how your relationship with your three wood is. Mine is off again, on again.
Oh, I love mine. I got a brand new three wood from Patriot Golf
Nice.
about a year and a half ago, right when I was in the middle of chemo, so I didn't get a chance to play with it a lot. But I'm learning better. We've got a better relationship. It was a rocky start, and I was going to basically, throw them away. I used to carry two drivers in my bag. I carried my Callaway, and then I had another old Big Bertha from 1970. It had like a 10.5 degree loft, and I used that as my three wood. It was a real, I mean, the thing was, it was old enough to have grandchildren kind of thing.
Oh my
But when I
goodness.
got the new technology with the new three wood, I'm learning how to hit it better. And so I almost felt guilty putting the old driver that I was using it back into the closet going, honey, I'm sorry, but I can't use you anymore. You've been replaced by a younger model kind of thing.
I hear that. I know, and I really loved my old driver. I loved it. I just needed more distance, and I knew at 75 grams it was the heavier driver, the heaviest driver you can get.
Yep.
And I knew it wasn't going to get me there, so I have to move on against my will.
No, I know. And you kind of look at it in the closet going, I'm sorry, honey, you just sit there, but you know what? I've got this new puppy and I'm going to go play with a new puppy now. And the new
Yeah,
puppy seems like it's doing really well for you.
I think so. I still have to get when you first get any new club, you've got to
Mhm.
swing it a bunch till that relationship is really solid.
Yes.
And of course, I didn't take it to a driving range. I just went right to the golf course.
Mm,
And I'm doing the same today. I'm not hitting the range. I'm going right to the course. I'm just
I see how
impatient,
it
you
is.
know.
I see. Well, you know what? Like I said, you're going to be breaking 80s pretty soon. I have a little trick up my sleeve that I started yesterday too. Oh, she's like, wait a minute, you didn't tell me
What
this
could it
off the
possibly be?
I know you're like, wait a minute, we because we always have a conversation before we go live and we tell everything. It's like now you're surprising me on this one. What is going on?
Yeah.
I'm starting off with a couple coaches at the indoor driving range, indoor practice range called
Oh,
Mashie Golf. They have speed tents, they have the simulators, they have a putting green, they have everything. And we started off, and I told them, you know what? I used to be a good golfer. I used to be really good as an athlete, and then went through the chemo, went through the surgery, two surgeries. They basically cut me open and put, re-put me back together again. So
yeah.
I'm a clean slate. Work with me. Okay, this is what you've got. I can't bend like I used to. So see what I can do. And they said, okay, 6 iron. That's what we're going to start with, 6 iron. Started with my setup, with my takeaway, hit a couple balls. My swing speed for my 6 iron was around 77, 76 miles an hour. And I was hitting the ball about 160. That's what I was doing. After we got done, about 20
Pretty good.
swings, my swing speed 87 miles an hour. Wow
Wow.
is right. And I
Oh,
increased my 6 iron from 160 to 175. Not only that, I
wow.
started hitting it more straight.
Wow.
So I have to refigure out all my clubs now because now my yardages are going to be completely different. I was putting the ball in the stance wrong. My angle of approach was wrong. Everything was wrong. And all it took was just a few little things here and there. And now I've probably added 15 to 20 yards on every club.
Wow.
I
What
know
a
that could be
dream.
really big.
Yeah, what a dream. This is what we're all working towards. What
Exactly.
a difference a coach makes.
Exactly. And if you're going to go out there, I think you had talked about you're thinking about having a coach talk to you and help you out.
Yeah.
It's little things because I've never done this, and it's just little the takeaway and what to do. And in my mind, I go four right, and that's my pendulum for the backswing going through, and it's just
Cool.
perfect.
That's so cool. Yeah, maybe today I'll focus on that the pace or the
Hmm.
momentum. Why can't I think of the word? Today I'll think of that.
The pendulum swing that you've got, yes.
That's right. And just kind of get my pace back together. And yeah, I do have a coach friend, a coach that I know in this area. I'm going to be working with. Maybe I'll start next week. His name is Marty. He's very cool. And he actually fitted me for this driver. And while I was doing my fitting, he was showing me how I was not activating my hips. I'm using so much upper body There's a lot that I'm leaving on the table as
That's
far as
exactly
like,
it. Hmm.
yeah, there's just a lot I'm leaving out there. And this is why like a coach or lessons, people hate the word lessons.
I
Everybody just
know.
wants to be automatically great. The
You
pros aren't
can't.
automatically great.
No, we're not. And like you said, it's just the little things. It was the approach of where I set the ball up, and then the takeaway and the pendulum coming through. And because of that, I'm making better contact with the ball. And not only that, I'm also having like I said, I increased my club head speed by 15 miles an hour, 12 miles an
That's
hour, and
incredible.
that correlates into the ball going further. Um,
That's where your GERs come into play, baby. If you could
exactly.
get on in two putt, now you're talking. So
And that's also the difference between, for me, when I'm 180 yards out, I don't have to take a 3 iron. I can take a 6 iron now, and I can have a better control than a less lofted club. So it's going to help me
wow.
out.
That's really, really cool. That's very cool. That's inspiring. So I'm definitely going to go to my coaching next week. I have to make a plan and schedule an appointment, schedule a date and go because I mean, if you schedule something, you're going to do it. So
Exactly. If you say I'm going to do it, you never get around to doing it.
yeah, I'm serious like you are. I'm serious about my golf goals and just invested in this new driver. I think it's a good idea to invest in like the rest of the game.
Yes.
If your swing's not giving you the most, then what are your clubs going to do for you? That your
That's
club
that's it. If you don't have the good swing, the good mechanics, what you're doing, it doesn't matter if you got $110 driver or $1,000 driver, you're going to screw it up either way. So,
totally,
but you can do
totally.
a lot better if you've got, like you said, you got a brand new driver. If you've learned everything that you need to do, pretty soon you're out there at the 200, 210 range every single time, and then that lessens the distance that you have on your second shot. You're getting more greens in regulation or putting it right there close to it. And then next thing you know, we're going on the next podcast going, Joel's shot 79. How do you think about that? Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
So I think it's going
Yeah.
to be,
And if people are buying clubs, I recommend, do the club fitting
yes.
because, each shaft did something totally different from the
Mhm.
standard to the stiff to the flex shaft. And I was between like three different weights, the 40, the 50, the 55 grams. And then I was between honestly, the senior flex shaft and the women's flex is what it came down to. This is after like 4 hours, 3 hours one day and 1 hour the other, just yesterday, trying out different things. But what I found when I had the correct shaft and head and the correct loft on the driver head, I'm getting more spin and my
Yes.
ball is rolling out further. And actually I had, the balls I was making good contact were going 200. I can range from sadly 170, 180, 190, sometimes 200. I hit one down a hill the other day, 230, but that doesn't count.
You're like, oh yeah, I'm back now.
Yeah, yeah. But no, when you have all the tools, that are configured to your body and your swing, you know, 10 more yards is 10 more yards. That's a
Oh
big
yes.
deal.
That's an entire club that you don't have to step up with to hit your greens in regulation. But a lot of
Yeah.
people like what you did, but a lot of people do not. They go, "Oh, that's a really cool driver. I saw that on TV. I'm gonna go out and spend $399. I'm gonna go buy it." You spent your research. You did a lot of research. Like we were talking, you probably 400 swings with the golf club to figure
Yeah,
out
it
what you
was
wanted.
200 day one at club fitting the first time.
How's your
200
shoulder
driver
feel?
swings. Yeah.
I bet your shoulder was like, "Oh, I can feel it right now."
Man, I'm telling you. And maybe that's not exactly the way to do it, but that's what I did because I'm a psycho and I had time. So yeah, I did suffer a little bit for that. So
But you know what? You've got it now, and it's going to be another tool in your bag that you're going to use to break 80.
totally. I'm so excited about it.
It's going to be good. Off the air, we were talking about the TGL Tiger Golf League, and it's
That's what we're calling it as well, Tigers Golf League. Yeah.
Tigers Golf League, which is exactly what it is to me.
Yeah.
Yes, it was like it was off the air for a while, and then they were doing double headers, and I've lost track of who's playing whom, and
I
I got to
know.
go back on ESPN Plus to watch all this back.
I know I've fallen behind. It was what I was looking forward to every week, and then there was a week off, and then there was a couple double headers back to
Yes,
back, and then I think a triple header, and I'm a couple episodes behind for sure, but I think I saw Tony Finau was playing last
yes, I
night.
saw that.
We love Tony Finau.
Yes,
We just think he's like one of the great dudes in golf. I mean, I think that they're all great, but
they are. Did you see where Tiger thought they said 99 yards instead of 199 yards?
no.
Oh yes, he looks over because they have the screen over to the where they sit, and the guy says it's 199, and Tiger thought it said 99, so he's hitting a little lob, boom, hits it 100 yards, and it's like, what the hell? And he goes, I said it was 199. He goes, I heard 99.
Oh my gosh.
That's when you
Well,
fire the
I
caddy.
mean, yeah, there's a learning curve there. So maybe double check your yardage. I mean, how many times
Exactly.
do we look at our yardage on the course? Like four times, before you know.
Do you have a rangefinder?
So I have our golf carts have a GPS on it. So
Uh,
at the course that I play all the time, there's that. And then I also use an app called Golf Logics, and
mhm.
that has a GPS tracker in it. But I don't have a camera rangefinder. I need to pick one up at the Lost and Found. When they do these courses, they have the annual Lost and Found sale. That's where I need to get a rangefinder. There's some good
Exactly. I
equipment in
do not.
there.
I do not own a rangefinder. I use an app called Sky Caddy, and it basically is on your phone and it GPSs where you're at and it shows you the hazards and wherever you're hitting the ball and you can move it. You're okay to clear the water. I need to do 230 kind of thing. Um, I just play in so many different courses. Some of them do have the yardage on the cart, but sometimes it's not correct. And I found out sometimes it can be off by 10 yards, 15 yards, and that's an entire club.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have definitely experienced that in all kinds of clubs. There was a time that I would always use both, but it really kills my phone. I have a lot of friends that I play with, and they use the formal rangefinder and they compare it to the cart, and that helps verify if the cart is accurate. But it would be wise to invest in a real and legit rangefinder.
I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of like the old school. Go up to find the 150-yard marker, pace it off, and I know what I'm at, kind of thing. That's old school stuff to me.
Yeah, and you know what? If you get to relying on GPS too much, someday you're not going to have one.
Exactly.
You're going to be in the mountains, there's no service, the cart is busted, and now you have to just figure it out. But yeah, you got to go back to the old-fashioned way, look for the markers on the fairway, and yeah, pace it out.
Pace it out. I have a friend. He's trying out. He's doing the Monday qualifiers for the senior tour. He's also doing, and she's gone. And welcome back to after the glitch on breaking 80. I guess we did not break 80, but we broke the Zoom call.
What a great example of what if your GPS technology crashes on you and now you've got to figure out how to hit a golf ball without being told the distance. Now you got to pace it
Exactly.
out.
I was like I was saying, I have a friend, Rob West. He was on Big Break 19, and he's trying out. Where he does some of the Monday qualifiers for the senior tour. You can't use any kind of rangefinders or anything. It's old school. So he's stepping it off, and he's been playing for a long time though. He's a scratch golfer. So, but he says there's times when he's been on the course and he's got that range, and he won't even use the range on the carts and stuff because he is so old school. He wants to mark it off, see the markers. To him, that's more perfect in his mind than using the GPSs.
That's cool. That's
Yes.
cool. Do you calculate the wind?
Um, I here you have to either it's going to
Okay.
be
We
a
do
lot of
too,
times.
because there's a lot of wind at times. Sometimes you just club up too. There's a lot of wind.
Well, yeah, you got a lot of wind out there too. Do you have a lot of elevation changes in your courses?
We do. Yeah, we definitely do. We have a lot of mountains around here.
Well,
So,
there's some times when I have to when I'll look at that going, that's a 7 iron, but it's uphill, so it's going to be a 6 iron instead.
oh
Because
yeah.
especially because I've played in some of the West Virginia and Virginia courses. Oh, there's one, it's a par three that drops 50 feet.
Yeah, yeah. That's
It's
a
190 yards, and I'm hitting a pitching wedge because of the
wow.
drop.
Yeah, we have one like that, and I clubbed down a couple of clubs. I don't know how deep the drop is, but we have a high to low, we have a low to high.
Oh, those are
I got a
killers.
hole in one on the low to high
That's
green, so you
right.
couldn't see it when it went in.
Oh,
And I
that
club
would
up on that hole, it's gosh, I want to say it's like 75, 78 yards to the middle of the front tier. There are four tiers on that green too, which is a fun game that they play.
I bet.
Yesterday, that pin was on the third tier.
Oh.
So, start the math on tier one. I need to add a club or two, and then for each tier, go up from there. So,
That would just be that. I hate the elevated greens. Those drive me crazy. I would hate it that I hit a hole in one and you didn't see it go in.
what a bummer. And we had the old golf crew back in town together this weekend. We have a foursome that we play with all over the US.
Oh,
And two of my buddies and my husband and I. And my one of our best friends hit at that low to high par three. We were certain it was a hole in one, and you can't see the pin. And the ball was probably 3 feet directly behind the pin. You couldn't see it from anywhere down below,
oh,
and you couldn't see it until you were right up on the hole. And we were so excited, and we got his hopes up. And
oh,
no, not a hole in one.
oh. And then
I've
yeah,
had
then
that
you go up there
happen
and go,
before
okay, yeah,
too.
you still got to finish this off. And
Yeah,
the problem is you come down from that high and then you two putt for a par from 3 feet going, I went from a hole in one to a par.
yeah, yeah. And that was a downhill putt. So there are no guarantees on a downhill putt.
No, there are no guarantees. Well, on the PGA Tour, the California swing is over. Now they're in Florida, and we've got some good courses down here. I know I'm going to be back in Jacksonville for March from March 9th through the 14th, and I'm going to run over to TPC Sawgrass and see one of the practice rounds at the Players Championship.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yes, I
That's
figure
really,
while I'm
really
down there,
cool.
why not? It's only about
Wow.
a 50-minute drive or so from where I'm staying.
Wow, that's so cool. Yeah, you are in, the golf mecca, the golf haven of the United States for sure. I'm in maybe second to that, but
You are.
you're right there. I don't know if you've played in Florida and South Florida a lot, and I'm sure that you have. Um, our balls don't go as far. So there's something we all know when you're hitting on a mountaintop, your balls
Hmm.
go farther, the air is a little more thin, they really fly. Whenever we get down to South Florida, we find that the ball just does not travel as far, and everybody's frustrated for about a week, and then everybody just gets over it and adjusts.
Well, I know there's some of the courses here that we play. I'm probably a half a mile from the beach. So I mean, I am right at sea level. In fact, where I live right now, I think the elevation is 27 feet above sea level is where I'm at.
Wow.
But yeah, the ball doesn't fly. But then I go to West Virginia or some of the mountains of Virginia and play. Yeah, you're like, okay, my 7 iron. And now with my new swing, I don't know. Maybe I'll be hitting a 6 iron 190. Who knows in an elevation?
Man. Yeah, fast forward 1 to 2 months into this new swing when it feels really natural and you're
Hmm.
just, I mean, this is going to be a game changer. This is going to change everything.
Of course, we say that, and 2 months down, I'll be like, you know what? I'm just trying to break 90 now. I don't know what happened
Yeah,
to me.
right, right. Oh
Well,
my
one of the
gosh.
things, one of the things the coach did say, and he kind of scolded me. He goes, one thing you're going to have to do is course management. He goes,
Ah,
yes, I know. I knew you were going to say something about that. I knew it. He goes, it might be boring, but you got to keep the ball in the fairway. The ultimate goal is to put the ball in the hole in as few strokes as possible and avoid hazards. That's number one for me, avoid hazards.
Yeah.
And he goes, you know what? If you can hit the ball, a drive 250 or 290, but you want to hit it 230 and keep it in the fairway, do that. I'm like,
Mhm.
that's
You don't want to
hard.
blow up your score because you hit one in the water and then you're out, and then you hit another one in the
I
water. I just did this
know.
the other day. So,
I know, but you know what? It's really hard. It is super hard for me. Because that's how I play golf. That's how I lived, you know. So
man, so many people do. I see a lot of guys do this. I don't know if women do or don't do it as much. I feel like they don't. Maybe they're a little bit more patient with it. Or maybe it's because, they don't have the 180 fly over water. So they can't, you can't go for it. So we all got to play to our strengths for sure.
I know, but
Know thyself.
I know
Uh,
when he said that, I'm going, boy, I can't wait to tell Tammy this one. She's going to sit there and she's going to say, told you so, just like a wife will, told you so.
That's right. Man, there's a couple holes on my course now. I want to go over the water. And if I'm a little far back, I debate it every time, but it's safer to go around. If you're just short, and I was just short the other day and it hit the rock, the large
Hmm.
boulders on the other side and just kicked straight back into the water. And it was like it's so close. It's such a temptation. I got a triple on that hole. So I
Ah,
really blew up my score.
that'll do it. That will
I
do
shot
it.
a
I tell
91
you.
the other day with like three triples and a double. I had a bunch of pars. I think I had a bird, but I just ruined my round a couple times being careless. So
Okay, with your new driver, are you ever going to hit driver off the deck?
I thought about it yesterday. So I was like, but my three wood, I'm hitting so strong right now. My three wood's going 180. That's a big deal for me. So I really don't need to hit driver off the deck. I can't imagine being in a position on a fairway where I need, well, maybe on a par five, the 220. But
Hmm.
at that point, do you need to get there in two? I can get there in three and be just fine. So my three wood game right now is strong. For months, me and my three wood have been hot and cold. So I'm just going to believe that I've had the breakthrough. It's a permanent thing. So
Oh, come on. And I know that all our listeners next week when we do this podcast, she's going to be going, okay, I did driver off the deck and I loved it. It was so
I had to
exhilarating.
try it.
You got to
You know,
try it just once. The
yeah.
thing
And
is, once you hit it once, you'll be like, oh, I could do that every time now.
that's what I was going to say. The danger is if you make great contact that one time, you're going to believe that this is a thing that you should be doing, and it's not a thing you should be doing.
I know we played a scramble and we on our drive, it was a par five and one person hit the fairway. Everybody else was just so far right or so far left. And we were still 300 from the green and people are hitting three woods up there 242. I go, okay, since we're already in the fairway, we're 50 yards. Let me do driver off the deck. 280, beautiful, straight as an arrow. And now I think I can do it all the time. So the next time I try to do driver off the deck, it went 180 yards right and 180 yards that way, kind of thing. I'm like, okay, I can't do it all the time, but
No,
your brain
yeah.
says, yes, you can.
Oh my gosh. Well, sure, yeah, you sure can do it all the time. But it's an odds game.
Yes,
How
I know.
often? Yeah, it's a numbers game. How often is this going to work out the way you hoped?
I
Is
know. And it
that going
goes
to be
back
the
to
best shot of your life?
And it was. And it's going to go back to course management again, you know, and that's going to be probably the thing that's going to keep me from breaking 80 quicker is course management. Um, it's all up here.
It
That's what it
is.
is.
Yeah, I bet once you adjust to course management, shave a few strokes off consistently, and I think that's a good reinforcement of okay, course management works.
Yeah, ask Phil Mickelson how he thinks about course management.
Oh, no doubt about that. I think I saw a reel of him hitting balls into the crowd, like over the years, just flying balls at the audience. So
Yeah, but
accident.
and that guy was a great golfer. Him,
Yeah,
Tiger Woods, those are the guys. Scotty Scheffler now. Um,
no doubt.
yeah, there's talking about TGL before we leave here. The rumor has it it's going to be Jordan Spieth, Will Zalatoris, and Scotty Scheffler for the new Texas team next year.
That would be so awesome. I'd like to see, at the beginning of the season, Shane Lowry said he's going to be the Scotty Scheffler of indoor golf. And that's amazing. So I'd love to see Scotty Scheffler play against the Scotty Scheffler of indoor golf.
I would love it. I would love it. Yes, it's interesting because you watch it, and I started watching the TGL going, this is kind of boring, and then you're watching going, no, this is not boring. This is kind of fun. The golfers come out of their shell and they're doing stuff you would never do on the real course.
Totally. Yeah, and it's so fun to see them just relax and play golf. There's not $4 million on the line. There's not 1.5 million. There's it's just for fun. It's for street creds,
It
you
is.
know.
It is, and I love watching it now. And after we get done with this podcast, I'm probably going to go back and turn on ESPN Plus on my TV and catch up on some of the episodes I missed.
Awesome.
And I know
Totally.
what
And
you're going
I'm
to
gonna
do.
hit the golf
You're going
course,
to hit the golf course,
play with this new driver, this new toy of mine.
and we're going to see how it works. So tune in next week, and you will say it'll either be this is the greatest investment I ever made, or I took it back and I traded in the puppy for another puppy.
Oh, that would be terrible. Although we said I have 90 days to figure that out. So
There you go. This is Joel, and I'll see you at the next tee box.
this is Tammy. See you guys next week.